and I'll share my screen. This is the Kubernetes SIG Docs meeting on the 18th of May 2021, and we'll be following CNCF Code of Conduct for online meetings and so forth. Everyone be good to everyone, please. Okay, so do we have anyone new on the call? Someone who hasn't joined a weekly meeting wants to introduce themselves to SIG Docs? If so, just
Yeah, hi
hello.
everyone. I'm new here, and this is my first meeting of SIG Docs Kubernetes. And my name is Shadakshi from India, also for more, pursuing my Bachelor's of Technology in Computer Science. And I'm really excited to be here and learn things about Kubernetes.
You are very welcome. Do you have access to the Google Doc?
I don't have access to it yet.
Okay, I'll just type your name in as a new contributor. Okay, there is a Google Doc where you can make notes, but very welcome. If you are on the Kubernetes Slack, there is a channel called SIG Docs. I guess you've seen that already.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Cool. Feel very welcome to ask questions there, and we will do our very best to help you get going and also to feel welcome there too. Okay, on to updates and reminders. Ivy Aini is this week's PR Wrangler. Next week's is Jim Angel, and the usual reminder about knowing your upcoming shifts is important. And on to the next bit of the agenda, upcoming release. I'll hand over to you, I believe, Ray.
Victor. I think you mean me. Unless Ray has something to add.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Victor.
I am a release out. Sorry, Victor, go ahead.
No worries. So since the 13th, which was enhancement freeze, where we started to basically ping enhancement owners. Right now we are tracking 54 enhancements with another one, which is basically 55, another exception that was granted today, out of 66 basically. So that's home. We have 55 that need docs. For the time being, we have one draft PR and 7 that are ready for review. That's it.
It sounds like you wouldn't want any help there. You wouldn't need any help. Is that fair to say? You're not. Would you give it a traffic light color at this stage?
I think we're green. I wouldn't say that we're blocked on anything or have any issues. The only problem is I didn't do the branch sync, so I don't have. I can't approve on Dev 122 branch, and I'm going to take care of it by the end of the week. I see.
Okay, cool. Next, I'll move on to issues and PRs. Who wants to talk about the rename from master as the primary branch to main? I'm not sure who's added this to the agenda. Yvi?
I think it was Jim. He already sent the broadcast through the emails, and he's still waiting for whether we have any thoughts about this or disagreement or comments or.
Yeah, let me grab that URL and just open it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone got any concerns about the date this should happen? Anyone got any recommendations, dates we should prefer? Victor, you might have views on the dates we should avoid.
Yeah, so for us, I didn't check all of the scripts, but I can tell you that the only thing that we need to take care of, at least for the dev branch, is to have the config.toml point to main instead of master, how it is right now. And I will check the rest of the scripts to see if there's anything wrong there. I don't mind if we do it during this time, so there's no objection on my part from there. However, I need to check the scripts to see if there's any major changes that need to be done.
Sorry, Victor, which scripts that you mentioned?
Sorry, what?
Which scripts that you mentioned?
Scripts.
Yes.
The ones that we run, I believe it's the API reference docs, which I don't think that is related. I just want to check before committing to anything. Basically, that's it. I don't think there's any major. There wouldn't be any major issues anyway.
What I think this does need is it needs a champion. We'd benefit a lot from having someone who is going to take this piece of work and drive it forward, coordinate, help, and so on, arrange dates, because there will be some pieces involved. I wonder if anyone wants to admits to being good at organizing things and suggest that themselves for that role. I'll add a comment on that effect.
But my understanding from this was that Jim wants to go ahead with this, so I'm not sure.
Jim, if you're watching this on TiVo or on Catch Up, I'm going to kind of assume that you're behind this, oh yeah, I'm seeing that in the message Jim was going to open non-disruptive PRs and announce a cutover date. Great, yeah. Fine. Fantastic. Even better. I just didn't read it properly. Any comments on this before we move on? I think it's pretty uncontroversial, actually. Okay, analytics dashboard PR. I'm guessing, Abigail, you might want to talk about this?
Yes, that was from me. So I opened this up at the end of last week. I just wanted to raise it if people had time to review and give any thoughts. Yeah, it's basically what we've been talking about, a link. It's a new page added into the contributing section of the Kubernetes site, and a link out to the dashboard that people can see the analytics. If people have a better idea of where they should live instead of on the site, let me know. Otherwise, that's the latest of that project.
So I see you've marked this as held. I don't see a need to hold this. Like the normal review process applies, but nothing more. Are you happy to unhold it?
I can. I think that's from, did Karen add that label? I didn't add that label. I'm not sure what that label is.
Ah, yeah. Sorry, yes, it was Karen. As I've added an LG team already, I'm going to unhold it.
Okay. I should probably post a link to this in the localization. They have a separate chat, right, in the Slack. They have a separate channel since they were the requesters.
Yeah, there's a localization channel in Slack.
Okay, I'll add that in there too in case they have any other comments and make sure everything aligns with what they wanted out of the report.
Cool. The way I see it, this is ready to review, and let's get reviewing. I'm going to move on. Anything more on analytics before I do? Cool. Let's carry on the discussion from last week about reference docs, which was me and Jim. My view is that SIG Docs as a group should focus on, as a longer term task on reducing the toil around publishing reference docs. I guess that's still my view. I'm not sure anyone's going to object, but I'd like to hear from people.
I assume this includes the API reference docs as well as part of the release.
Yeah,
I agree. Big +1 in reducing the toil. It's in the past few releases. It's been a little bit of a speed bump / hurdle to generate the reference docs, just because it's there's tacit knowledge that that wasn't passed on, or that needs to be passed on in terms of generating the reference docs. As the past few, including myself, and I know Anna's on the call as well, that we've had issues generating the reference docs, and it'll just be helpful to have a better guide. Even though we do have a guide in the docs role handbook, but it's doesn't have all the information needed, and we also don't have a lot of information to update that section of the handbook as well.
I'm going to suggest, I don't know how much this happens already, but can you use a container to produce the outcome you want here? I think at the moment the reference docs generation isn't containerized. I haven't actually checked.
It's not.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm going to.
That would be very cool to have it in a container than just to run that container.
Okay, I think that's something that we could reasonably suggest and make possible. So there's a container image. Either it's published, it's not a secret, or you build it locally, and that provides the mechanism that you can use to then generate docs. I will log an issue about that in a bit, unless anyone else wants to pick up that particular piece. I'm going to stop you.
I mean, given that I'm the docs lead, it would benefit me a lot to fix this before I actually have to run it. So I could pick it up.
Cool. Well, Victor, do you feel able to log that issue and to kick things off, start the ball rolling?
Yep.
Cracking. Sure. Leave that with you then. Yeah, it is mainly around the generation, but there's also pieces to work around. We eventually want to deprecate or we have kind of deprecated, but we want to move away from the single page API reference we have now. And I guess there's some pieces of work that are related to this that aren't in that issue. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Last week, we also spoke briefly about moving up the contributor ladder. So this is around, I guess, really that the people who are chairs and tech leads, EFE included, and the others not on today's call, we are really keen to provide mentoring, provide what it takes to help people become more of a contributor. Now that can be, you are literally brand new, you've never contributed and you want help. One of the things that a chair or a tech lead or someone else will benefit SIG Docs by doing is by helping new contributors. So that kind of onboarding, help, guidance, coaching, it's a really valid way to, really valuable way to contribute to Kubernetes. And I just want to make it clear that whatever the stage in your sort of contributor journey, that's something that chairs and leads we're really focusing on, keen to make that available and make it clear that we're here to help if anyone wants to. Find us on Slack, send direct messages if you want, or ask in public. Either's fine. You don't have to hold your hand up in public and say I want help if you don't want to, but we're here. Any questions? Cool. Moving on to the kubectl docs. I don't think we've got Eddie, who joined last week's call, so we won't be able to talk about that. Eddie is from the SIG CLI group, and we're working. We have a piece of work around merging the CLI docs handbook, the CLI handbook, the kubectl handbook, sorry, and the main documentation. But yeah, so I'm not going to talk much more about that. And Victor, let's talk about feature gates docs generation from source code.
Yeah, so about this, we missed a lot of them, and really you can't blame anyone because they're a bit hard to find when they basically when they change. So you need to really navigate when you get assigned as a shadow or as a docs lead. You need to navigate the KEP and check out what the feature gate itself is and if it gets promoted and so on. Currently, there's all of this resides in cube_features.go. As I think someone mentioned. Let me actually show you pass the link here with the issue. And I would like to work on this because now I have to, for all the shadows, or I have to double check and see if something happened, I guess, if a feature gate changed, and make sure that the documentation really reflects that. It's a bit hard to have to explain to everyone, hey, you need to go to the KEP, and then you need to read the KEP and see the feature gate and check out the latest changes to the KEP to see if it was promoted and so on. So it's a bit hard to explain that to everyone continuously. And after I leave, someone else will come and it will be the same problem. So
Good
basically
news,
right
Victor.
now.
I have
Yep.
a branch where I'm working on this. And
Oh,
actually,
okay.
if someone had said, I want to put my hand up and, I've got to give me a project, I said, great, I've got some starting points for you. Here's a thing, would you like to help move it forward? So I'm going to take that as you'd like to move that forward.
Yes, very much. My question is, how would you like to do it? Because from what I see in K website, most of the scripts are Python based. And the way that I see this, maybe it would be easier to do it in Go somehow, but at the same time, you would always need to, because this way you just pull in this cube feature file, and then you import it basically. So that's kind of all you need to do. And you can just generate the YAML file or whatever from it. I don't know how you could do that in Python. You would probably need to parse the file or keep it separate. I'm not sure.
I don't really mind what language is used to generate the YAML file. I actually haven't worked on that bit. I've worked on the templating to turn the YAML file into, Markdown and eventually rendered HTML. So sure, that sounds like a good complement. Like that can split, by the way. If one person wants to work on the generation tool and another person wants to work on the templating and generation from YAML of the page, that can be two people. So there's room for collaboration here if anyone's interested. Victor, if you start on this and you want to split that out, or you find that someone's looking to help contribute, rally help from the SIG, and someone can help you with like onboarding and that kind of thing if need be, and getting people up to speed. Sure.
I would ask you also to please share what you've done whenever you have the time.
Yeah. It's pretty early work, but I will share, push a draft PR and share it with you, Victor. Absolutely. I'll mention that in the minutes too.
Awesome. Thanks.
But that is actually the last thing on the agenda. So does anyone have anything they want to add before we wrap up this week's SIG meeting?
I have a quick question. There was
Go
a
ahead.
discussion last week about scheduling preemption and eviction, and it moved into Slack. And I wanted to join in, but if it looks like it's about to wrap up, I don't want to like stop the flow if it's ready to go. But I do have some things I'd like to maybe contribute there. So is it your impression it's about ready to publish, or or is it okay to still contribute there?
If that's a question specifically to me, Chris,
Yeah.
I have been busy and have not really looked at that.
Okay.
Maybe someone else on the call could comment.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in then if there's nobody, if nobody thinks it's, if it's about to publish, I don't like to stop things that, everybody's in agreement on. So, but otherwise then I will try to go contribute.
I mean, I would, a thing I try to do where I can, and I think I'd speak for a few of the other leads as well for the SIG, is I'll do a review and I'll say, okay, here's some feedback. This comma is in the wrong place, and here's some more feedback. We actually write config map with capital C, capital M, LGTM, because it's good enough. So you get an LGTM and things can move forward. And sometimes I'll actually do LGTM approve because I'm an approver, and then hold. And I'll say to the person whose code it is, I'll say, your contribution is good enough to merge. You can decide whether you unhold it, in which case they unhold it and it merges, or if they really like the idea of that feedback and they actually think, oh my gosh, I wish I'd put that comma in, it changes the whole sense of the sentence, then they can do that and it'll go through another cycle. So that approving with feedback review is the kind that I want to promote and favor. And if that fits what you want to do, Chris, I think that's going to be really good. Like, give it an informal or a formal LGTM at the same time as you say, and by the way, I've spotted these things.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thanks.
Cool. I'll put a note in about that in the discussion. Let's see what's in the chat. Okay, nothing super exciting. I will just put that note in. I will forget it otherwise. Sorry. Cool. Any more discussion? Anyone got another thing they want to talk about? Bring up right now. Any questions? If you're new here and you're wondering what's going on, it's okay to ask. Okay, not hearing any questions right now. If you do have anything that you want to talk about later, find us in Slack on the SIG Docs channel and ask. I'm going to count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a SIG meeting, folks. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye. Cheers.